Hi, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us why you're here today.
My name's Richard Burgon. I'm the Member of Parliament for Leeds East, and again I'm here at the national demonstration for Palestine because we need justice for the Palestinian people and we need our government to take the action required to stop Israel's war crimes and stop Israel's genocide, and that means widespread sanctions and it means an end to all arms sales.
And can you talk about what kind of pressure you as an MP are putting on the government to get to that end?
As well as raising the issue of Palestine and Israel's war crimes at every opportunity in Parliament, this week I organised a letter from over 80 MPs and Lords from 9 political parties to the Foreign Secretary demanding the scale of sanctions on Israel that we've seen in relation to Russia. The government quite rightly brought sanctions on Russia, widespread sanctions in relation to its unlawful invasion of Ukraine, yet has failed to take action in relation to Israel. So that means an end to all arms sales. It means widespread sanctions, not just on a couple of Israeli ministers in an individual capacity. It means an end to trade with the illegally occupied territories. And it also means that the government should fulfil its legal and moral obligations under the international under the international legal framework. For example, the Prevention of Genocide Convention. For example, the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice.
I mean, we've seen the government not only failing to take punitive action against Israel, but, continuing to provide support for its campaign in Gaza, supplying F-35 parts, using Royal Air Force bases and flights. Why do you think there is strong support despite the overwhelming opposition to Israel's actions in Gaza?
Well, the majority of the public oppose Israel's war crimes and want to see an end to arms sales. I think the main reason, in my opinion, the government hasn't done what it should do legally and morally is because in this country, by and large, regardless of which government's in power, the usual position is to more or less do what the United States government wants, regardless of the government that's in power here, regardless of the president that's in power in the United States. I think what we need actually is a more independent foreign policy, a foreign policy, in the words of Robin Cook, that's an ethical foreign policy. So that means a foreign policy that's not filtered through the prism of geopolitical alliances, but is instead a foreign policy based upon international law, the preservation of human life, human rights, conflict resolution, and that's what we need to see, in my opinion.
And just lastly, you talk about a government making independent foreign policy. Obviously, we've seen initiatives from, former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and Zahra Sultana to start their own party, one that would have a bit more policy freedom. What do you think of that initiative? Do you think it holds potential? Do you think it's constructive?
Well, I think that it's sad to see someone like Zahra, who's a friend of mine, and a great colleague on so many issues, leave the Labour Party, not feel it's a place that she feels welcome after 14 years. And I think that the leadership of the Labour Party, the leadership of the government, needs to understand that it can't take any votes for granted. I joined the Labour Party when I was 15. I'm 44 now. I actually think that the only way to prevent a far-right government in this country is by having a Labour government whose direction is radically transformed, because otherwise what happened in the United States, what happened in Italy could happen here. But regardless of whether people are in the Labour Party or outside the Labour Party, I'll continue to work on a cross-party basis with everyone who supports justice for the people of Palestine, with everyone who supports a fairer economy, and with everyone who wants to see an end to the war crimes.
And do you think you're in the majority in that case in Parliament?
Yes.
Cross-party?
Well, I think I'm in the majority of people across Parliament who think that it's wrong that the British government are not taking action necessary against Israel, and also actually put it to the test. The government should bring a vote on the recognition of the state of Palestine. I think the majority of MPs would support that, as they did previously in 2014.
Thank you very much, Richard.